Hey everybody, good morning. Martin Chuck here, Modern Golf. I want to say this is episode 18. Usually producer Steve would have that written on the deal, but producer Steve is really sick right now. So CEO Jared is in the house with fever. Hey Fever, how are you? We're going to have some fun here. This is all about what's in the bag. I'm going to walk you through my what's in the bag, and then I'll also walk you through the benefit of a club fitting, some questions to ask, preferences for when you get fit, what I want you to do, those sort of things. We're going to give away, let's get to it now, because I say it's 7 o'clock every day. I'm going to give away something cool from Hanma. And today, hold on one sec, set my coffee down here, put my phone down. Let me show you what we're giving away. And you know what? The shame of this is only 200 people have qualified to win this bad boy today. This is the Hanma TR2460 driver, and it is sweet. I mean, this thing retails for $650. They got more goodness. They have more stuff, technology packed in here than the first spacecraft that landed on the moon. I mean, this thing's fantastic, okay? So you guys, we've got 21 days of Hanma giveaways. This is the 5th prize, so you do the math. There's tons of cool stuff you can still win. Iron sets, fairway woods, hybrids, etc. It's really easy. Go to Instagram. Martin Chuck PGA is my handle. Every day I've got a tip, and we're giving away something cool from Hanma. And it's a fantastic little contest. So without further ado, drum roll please. I've got my computer locked and loaded. We're gonna scroll on up to this face on camera right here. This is a randomizer. This is like the random picker of the winner right here. And I got that light kind of shining on here. So we've got, let's see, 198 comments. Let's scroll down to start and pick a winner. And it's doing its voodoo calculations here. This is what I really like. And let's see, and we've got, the winner is EJ Crossell. EJ-C-R-O-S-S-L. Way to go, EJ. So, let me do this. This is what we do. I'm going to go to live on Instagram for just a moment here. Give this away. And my sniffles, I apologize. Checking connection. Hopefully the connection's decent. Bear with me. We are going to get to some golf content and some fitting. And we are live. Hey, babies. Martin Chuck here. And guess who won the driver today? EJ Cross and Winnell. EJ Crossell. I don't know what that means. But here's what we're going to do. We've got 5 amazing prizes that we've already given away. And we're going to give away, what do we have left? 16 more. 16 more amazing things from Hanma that you can win, and I want you to win them. And also, right now, you know what I'm doing? I'm in my garage. We're doing the Modern Golf with Martin Chuck. This is the Garage Dojo. Take a little trip with me here. Say hi to Jared and Fever in the back, producer Fever and Jared. Hey, hey. And we're going to be taking your questions and having some fun, but congratulations to the winner right there. And let's get started with the show. So jump on over to YouTube if you want to watch this. We're on for the next hour. We're talking about club fitting and how to get a good club fitting, where to get a good club fitting, the benefits of it, and then we're going to go do a little what's in old Martin Chuck's bag right there. So let's have a little fun. Bye for now. We'll see you later. Cool. So we save that, and let's get started. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's do what we usually do. We're going to go to the PGA Tour this week. And you know who's kind of come back from the dead, everybody, is Hudson Swafford. So way to go, Hud, playing really, really well. And another one that came out of the crypt is Sean O'Hare. My college roommate used to caddy for Sean O'Hare, and he said he was a great guy. And he goes, you know, their caddy relationship didn't get along because they were both the same kind of guys, way too chill. It seems like you need a little bit of the opposite on the golf bag for you when you're playing tour golf. Luke List, way to go, Luke. So we're there in Punta Cana Resort, the Corrales Championship. Now this is great. A lot of the guys that played in the US Open last week, some are at this event, some are not. And what about that Open? That was crazy. Bryson DeChambeau, the mad scientist of golf. You know, I guess he figured out if he hits the ball 9 million yards, okay, here's a club fitting benefit. If he hits it 9 million yards, if he hits it left or right in the rough, he's better off hitting a wedge from 100 yards than trying to hack a 7-iron if he misses a fairway, because the fairways were so narrow that you may as well bomb it down there. So distance is a big deal, and club fitting is a big deal. So anyway, Hanma giveaway, you guys. Don't miss out on this. It's really easy to win this stuff. Martin Chuck PGA at my Instagram handle, okay? And we are giving away something every single day. There's usually a video tip on there, something that I dream up, and then we give away a product tomorrow. I can't remember what it is, but I will post that up here as soon as I get off this show. So for the winner today, EJ Crossell, way to go. You're gonna love this driver, it's fantastic. And let's get into what's in the bag. Let's go to two screens, face on down. I'll move this in here a little bit. Move this in a little bit more. There we go. So now you can kind of see what we got here. We got this super cool Hama bag. I'm going to go through a little gap testing for you guys, because one of the big things is the gaps, okay? And it's really important. I'll hit a few shots. Let's see, we've got the old gapping setup on Foresight here. Thank you to Foresight. Pardon the sniffles again. I'm not sure what season it is here. Let me do my Golf Pro warm-up. There we go, ready to go. Let's hit a little shot here. Little gap wedge. Now a gap wedge for me, you know, if I hit it nicely, well, we'll see. We'll see what it is exactly. And let's see, let's try that again. Might have to go to a different setting. Try that one more time. That's better. Cool. So 75 yards in the air, okay? So 3 shots with each club. So this is a little bit, this one wouldn't exactly, I'm not exactly warmed up. And go whack this a couple times here, let that go. Next shot, great. I'm not going to walk you through this whole gap test, but this is what I would do with a student that came to see me. Cool. So now we're getting up to 82 yards. And typically, 83 yards, and let's see if I can get onto my 85. 85 is about my max for my lob wedge here. And that's how I play it. It's about what is my max carry per club. So somewhere right around that 83 number. So 3 shots captured, or I hit OK to go to my next club. So hitting OK, you know, we would move on and work through the bag. Now here's the thing with a gap fitting. I'm going to go ahead and let's go. Tell you what, guys. Do you have the control for that? Go to the top right up there where you see those slider bars. There you go. Click on that. Fantastic. Hit exit. Awesome. Hit yes. And then go to improve. Perfect. And then to the right where it says range, all the way over, click it. Perfect. Hit start. To the bottom right. Perfect. Now we're just back in range mode. But Foresight lets you work through the bag and get a nice stacked up order of what your clubs carry. And in fairness, I probably should have warmed up a little bit to get my speed up. It's a little after 7 a.m. I'm barely caffeinated. And this is what I would like you to do, because when you are getting fit for some clubs, everybody, it's more about how far you carry every golf club. A lot of times when golfers come to the golf school, we get this every week. I'll say to somebody, you know, what do you hit from 150 yards? And by default, I'm going to hear a man say 8-iron or 7-iron. Okay, now some of you young whippersnappers out there that might be watching this, you might hit pitching wedge or 9-iron. I get it. But the default is 7-iron or 8-iron. And then when we test them on a monitor, guess what? They don't come anywhere near carrying the golf ball that far. They may hit it 120 in the air, and the rollout, you know, if this ball is a low launching ripper, might roll out to 150, but that is not what you guys want, or gals, to play your effective golf. You want effective carry numbers. So if I got my 8-iron out, and I hit a solid shot, let's assume I'm about to do that, I am pretty darn confident that if I hit this solid, I'm going to fly this 155. Okay, I'm going to fly at 155, 158. So I can hit a little harder than that if I want to. I can miss-hit it a little shorter than that if I want to. But let's hit a little shot here. Okay, felt reasonably solid. Okay, so I landed at 150, 156 total. So a little bit of a miss hit for me, not gonna lie, and probably should be a little bit more warmed up too. So if I had to carry that over some bulkhead to a green TPC, guess what? I just rinsed one, right? So it's important to be warmed up. But the fact is, I can pretty much tell you how far I'm going to carry every golf club if I hit a solid shot. Now, if I don't hit a solid shot, I'm not all that disappointed. It's the truth that, like, I know what my responsibility is, and I'm not upset if I make a boo-boo. I move on to hit my next shot. If that shot was a fraction short, I go up, I chip it, hopefully get up and down. If I chip it on the green in a two-putt, that's a bogey, I move on. But as a golfer out there, you guys need to know what your carry distances are. And the only way you're going to do that really is to get on a range or get inside with a professional launch monitor like a Foresight or a TrackMan and go ahead and see what you can carry every golf club once you are you feel warmed up and ready to go. And what you're going to do to get a professional fitting. My relationship, you guys, is this sign on the wall right here, True Spec Golf. And True Spec Golf to me they're a great company. I think they've got about 20 fittings places around the country. And they offer both indoor and outdoor fittings. Now, I'm a fan, if you can get an appointment outdoors, that's my first choice. Because if you come see me in Phoenix, or you book with True Spec in Phoenix, certainly during the winter months, right at the Raven Golf Club where I do my golf school, they've got an outdoor fitting. It's fantastic. It's a candy store. It's beautiful. You can go, you can hit anything you want. They are a certified Hanma specialist. They've got all the new gear that I play from Hanma, which is amazing stuff. Or you can hit anything you want. And best of all, you're outside hitting real balls, watching real balls fly, and you are looking at it and comparing company to company for something that pleases you visually and also gives you like a lot of satisfaction and feel. And then from there, whatever they build, whatever you feel is great, they can build it for you exactly. They have the ability to take any shaft you want, pop the head off, pop the club you love to look at, and performs for you. And then in about usually a week or so, week to 10 days, that exact set is built exactly for you. Custom grips, because guess what, everybody? We don't all have the same hand size, the same feel. I use a mid-size grip. That's what feels good for me. I wear a large glove. Some guys like Bryson DeChambeau loves those Jumbo Max XLs. Some people, Nick Faldo's a great big guy with big hands. He likes thinner grips. So everybody is a little bit different. And when you have the array of whatever grip you want, and they probably have 20 to choose from, maybe 25, you get to try whatever grip you want. Well, not really. You get to try a variety of the grips, not all the grips, but you get to choose exactly the weight and the feel of every club in your bag and then go through a fitting. And I'll tell you something interesting. A lot of the ladies that come to see me, they don't even need 14 clubs in the bag. I know the rules allow for 14 clubs, but for example, say you're a little slower swing speed, maybe you're on an age a little bit, the driver is one you're going to hit every single time. So you're going to find the driver that you can smoke, and maybe your swing speed, maybe your swing speed's 70 miles an hour. You're going to find something super light with loft that blends a great carry distance and rollout. Not all carry, because with a driver, we want the ball to hit and run. With an 8-iron, we don't want it to hit and run. We want it to go as high as it can go and basically stay around where it lands. And that's often the mistake that I see a lot of the golfers who go get fit. They're just looking for a ball speed number. Okay, so a ball speed number, here would be the example. Say I took my 6-iron. Okay, you can go and you can get enamored with ball speed. So if I hit a shot here with my 6-iron, let me see if I can do 2 shots in a row with the same ball speed. Okay, so right now, my last 8-iron showed at 110. Okay, a little bit of a miss hit. But let me see if I can get a ball speed in around 115, okay? So this is a 6-iron. It's not a full swing to get a ball speed at 115, but let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's get this ball in position here. And there we go. Groovy. So let's see if we can get a 115 ball speed on this club. So it's a 3/4 shot. Okay. So perfect. Let's let that populate. So I went 166 total, ball speed 111, carried 154, 166 total. Okay. So 11 yards or 12 yards of run out. 12 yards of run out, that's 33 feet, right? So if you land on the front of a green, you're 33 feet from the front of a green. So let's see if we can get a 111 ball speed off this 8-iron, which is just a little bit of a less than full 8-iron. See what number populates up here. So 110. So basically they carried, and that totaled 155. So here's the beauty of that right there. You had a situation where basically I gave you the exact same ball speeds. Okay, now that 6-iron, I can get more ball speed off that 6-iron, no doubt about it. But we want to find golf clubs that we like that can carry and stay where they land. So that's the huge thing. Don't get all enamored about ball speed and the fact that maybe you hit an 8-iron with some super jacked up new golf club that came out these days, because you hit this thing and it comes off with wicked ball speed. But we need landing angle, guys and gals. The last, shot tracer was much lower and had a lot more penetrating ball flight because it was a 6-iron. And a lot of these companies nowadays, they make super strong lofted irons, which are fantastic in a fitting because you feel like Hulk smash. But the reality is, when the ball pitches wherever it lands, it doesn't stay there. So don't get too freaked out by the fact that maybe with this company, you hit the 8-iron, total distance 10 or 15 yards farther, but it's not playable when it touches the ground. So we need to get shots that will touch the ground and stay around where they touch based on a decent strike. If you've got to hit 7-iron to do that, 8-iron versus your buddy, perfect, because your buddy's going to roll over the green, you're not. And so we got to be mature about our club selections, and when we get fit, we have to understand, and this is a huge one, landing angles. Okay, the way the golf ball comes out of the sky and lands on the green is a big, big deal. Years ago, I was a coach for Nick Taylor. Nick Taylor's won 2 times on tour. He had a great coach in Canada, a good pal of mine out west. Played great in college, came down, played the mini tour down here, and didn't do very well. Well, his agent reached out to me and said, hey, would you take a look at my friend Nick? He's struggling on the mini tour. I said, of course. We had a lesson. He's got a beautiful golf swing. He hits every shot in the middle of the face. He was #1 amateur in the world. So it's like, Martin, how hard's that job? It's pretty easy. You know how easy it was? We looked at the data from the launch monitor, and it was a simple lesson. Nick, your landing angles aren't correct. He's like, what do you mean by that? Here's the #1 player, #1 amateur in the world, didn't really understand the intricacies of landing angle. I said, well, at the time, Justin Rose was beating everybody, okay? And Justin Rose's landing angles were coming down onto greens in a steepness that would hold the green. Nick's golf ball was coming in a little too flat. So as a coach, it was an objective discussion on how we got his golf ball to travel a little bit higher, shallow out his swing just a sliver so he could launch it a little bit higher. Now, he didn't need to have an equipment change. He needed a mild technique change because I couldn't really increase his speed. His speed was maxed out. He was a tour player. But all I had to do was get him to understand a little bit of efficiency in how the ball landed. And, he was, being the awesome student he was, it didn't take very long for him to recognize that we needed just a mild delivery change to get his golf ball to fly a little bit higher so the landing angle would be a little steeper. So what I want you guys out there to do in this world of golf, that we've got so many things at our fingertips, is go get a fitting, whether it's an indoor fitting. Some places do great indoor fittings, okay? My proven thing for you that works the best is an outdoor fitting. If you can get an outdoor fitting with a launch monitor, that's the way to go, because you're gonna feel the turf interaction. You're not gonna get misled by, false positive strikes off of a mat. So anyway, let's go through the bag here a little bit. Let me tell you what I have in my set makeup. I am sporting, let's go just face on, fantastic. I'm gonna walk up to this camera, kind of show off these amazing wedges I have. And I think you can maybe see the back of these. This is from Jacob, the wedge wizard at Honma, and you can see the fancy back designs he puts on these. Now, this doesn't come on just a stock wedge. He fancied these up for me. But I'll tell you what, if you follow along on Instagram, we're giving away later on in this 21 days of Honma giveaways, we are giving away one of these T-World wedges, and we're gonna have Jacob kind of dial it in, put your initials on it, and do his little wedge wizardry on the back for you. So you wanna win one of these wedges for sure. So my set makeup for wedges. Okay, 60 degrees. Why? That's about my full swing 85-yard shot off of a tight lie. Now, if the lie is a little fuzzy and I get a little grass behind the ball and it's a little bit of a flyer, as a pro, I recognize that situation. The ball jumps a bit more, goes a little farther. It's unpredictable, but the ball can travel a little farther out of a flyer lie. I've got a 60 for 85 and under. I've got a 54-degree wedge that I hit about 100 yards on max carry. Okay, let's hit this wedge. I'm getting closer to warmed up here. So we've got the 54-degree wedge. And let's scrub that one because I legitimately shanked that one. Not completely shanked it, but I almost hit it 100 yards. Trouble is that 9 of it went to the right because it went off the hosel. Let's do that again. So there, carried 99. So a nice strike on target went 103. That's a reliable thing. That's a good feeling to know that when you hit it solidly, it goes the distance you expect it to go. And then I have my 48-degree golf club. And Hanma has an 11 iron. I don't know if, what was that show, that rock and roll spoof show? It was great. You could turn your stereo up to 11. Remember the name of that? No, it was excellent show. Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. But let's hit this shot. This is my 48. This is about a 120 club. Spinal Tap is what came to mind. If you watch Spinal Tap, good, 120. So it flew 120. So now I'm starting to get warmed up. My clubs are performing total 126. So this is a carry of 120. And this is what you guys need to be able to do. Kind of have a reliable number in mind, not a false one, okay, of what your clubs can produce for you based on a reasonably full swing. So if I had a shot that was, say, 92 carry, guess what? I'm not hitting my lob wedge. I'm going to my 54 and I'm taking a little bit of heat off of it. Okay, if I've got a shot that is 110, I'm not hitting my 54. I'm taking my 48, taking a little bit off of it. And then as we kind of go through the set, you guys, I'll show you my set makeup. My 10 iron, okay, from the 10 iron through the 6 iron, I'm using the TR20Vs. This is a forged cavity back. I do not know why, well, I have my ideas, why Hanma is so good at forging clubs. I mean, think about famous forgings, and if you're a golf nerd like me, it always comes back to Japan. When you think of the other amazing forgings, the Japanese guys seem to do it really, really well. When you talk to the Hanma people, the people that actually work and forge irons have a minimum of 25 years experience in Sakata, Japan at the Hanma factory. So it's not like you just go and apply for a job and then let you work on golf clubs. You've got to earn your keep in this place and earn your right to actually be able to make one of these at Hanma and forge for Hanma. So I'm using the set that goes, the TR20V is a beautiful cavity back. I'm going to walk up and just kind of show you what this is. This is a forged iron with a cavity back in it. Of course, there's the Hanma mole. The mole in the hole, I do not know why they have that critter as their icon, but it makes some good sense. And I've got this beautiful forging set right on through the 6 iron. So the 6 iron for me, it's a club, if I'm warmed up and I hit it solid, it's about a 185 carry for me. So let me go ahead and hit one of these guys solid. Reasonable strike, a little bit of an overdraw. Yep. So I carried 185. So now I probably missed the green a little bit to the left, but not by much. So again, I know how far these things are going to go. So through the bag, my wedges, 10 iron through 6 iron, TR20Vs. Now I go to their pocket. This is the TR20P when I go to the 5 and 4 iron. Let me show you this subtle difference here. And the guys at Hanma thought I would like this, and you know what? They were right. So when we look at the back of this, let me get it just out of the sunlight, you can see this is my 4-iron I'm holding that I'm waving around right here. There's the pocket in the back of this forging right here. And then the other club does not have the pocket. They sent me both just the cavity back and then a couple of pockets just to try out. And I got to be honest, I'm enjoying the pocket in the 4 and the 5-iron because I get a little bit better launch angle, so I get a little bit steeper landing angle. Again, it comes back to the golf ball landing on the green. Can it stay on the green? And this is why when you have a set makeup, okay, I have one hybrid in the bag here. So 5-iron's about my 200 carry, okay? 4-iron carries about 212. And then my hybrid, these are the brand new, hot off the shelf TR21s right here. And we gave away one of these the other day, and we're going to continue to give this beautiful stuff away. So this is the awesome Hanma TR21 hybrid. It's gorgeous. And this club is pretty much it's a great hybrid. A lot of hybrids have a very toe-weighted, very, very toe-weighted, hooky feel to them. And they've created this awesome golf club. And I'll tell you what, it's a very, very neutral delivery. Let me go ahead and hit one for you here. Solid shot should fly about 220. That was a nice ball. Flew 217-ish, and it's holding out to 230. So, not too bad. So that's kind of this is my set makeup. You can see I've got about 10-yard increments between my clubs. And back to that, some of the older folks that come see me, some of the ladies, and the juniors too, by the way, if your speed is a little bit less, like say for example, they're swinging a driver, say 70 miles an hour. This is about what you get. Let me hit one of these and get a swing speed of about 70. I'm going to put a dot on here so we get some club head speed. Let me do that real quick and show you how critical this is. So this club here, I'm not saying this is going to be your driver, but this might be your basic setup for a driver. This is a 21-degree club. You'll say, but Martin, I thought drivers are supposed to be 9 degrees or they're supposed to be 12 degrees. Well, yeah, if you're fast enough to let them go high enough. So say I'm swinging at, say, 70 miles an hour or 65 miles an hour, because a lot of the people that come to my golf school, that's what they swing at. So let me put a 65 mile an hour strike on here. Okay, let's see how I did there. I swung at 71. So that ball flew in the 150-something category and totaled out at 176. And you know what? That's basically my son right there. That's Jackson Chuck. And the thing about it is, if I set that down here and I look at his great driver that's made by Ping, for a junior golfer, it's got a lot of loft on it. Why does it have a lot of loft on it? Because it blends in the need to elevate the golf ball high enough to carry things. You don't want to hit all these little worm burners out there. Now, if you gave this club to, say, Bryson DeChambeau, and he swung his 135 mile an hour driver club head speed, it would go too high with too much spin. It would be uncontrollable. So he has dialed his lofts way down. I think his driver loft is like 4 degrees right now. And now I think next week he's going to mess around with, or whenever he plays next, I heard that for the Masters, he's going to have a 48-inch long drive driver in the bag. And my assistant, Jim Waldron, is a world long drive competitor, finished 3rd in the world a couple years back. And I've swung these things. They are like ski poles. It's crazy how long 48 inches feels, okay, even though it's only a few inches longer than my driver. But just the sheer stiffness of the shaft and the lack of loft on the face when you look down on it, looks like there is none. Because these guys are swinging so fast, and what happens is, what you want to do when you go get a fitting, okay, the shaft is a big, big part of that. And let's kind of walk through the next things, because I'll take you through my 3-wood here. This is a brand new 3-wood they're just offering this year. Just came out. It's called the Big LB, okay, the big long ball. TR21 product from Hanma right here, right? And this is a 3-wood that's a little bit bigger headed. And they did that on purpose because they asked the question, who hits 3-wood out of the rough? And the answer should be nobody, okay? A 3-wood is a golf club that you should hit off of a flat lie, off of a tight, closely mown flat lie. If you were in the rough, do not hit it. So they didn't make a super small 3-wood. Well, they actually do. They have a TR21 3-wood, but I'm testing the LB here. Now, this golf club is stamped on at 14 degrees. I've got to turn down a little bit less than that because when I present this club to the golf ball, it's spinning maybe a little bit more than I want it to. This is probably the only club in my bag I'm still kind of playing around with to get the adjustments just right. So this club carrying, if I smoke it, should be about a 240 number. So that felt like a pretty nice strike. Let's see how we do. So carried 235, a total 251, so not too bad. So that's about right for me, okay? It was a nice strike. Maybe I didn't quite get a look at the spin number. Let me see if I can tell you what that is. Yeah, so 3,500, carried 238, so 2 yards less than what I expected it to. Backspin 3,500, so pretty darn good. Ball speed 146, okay? A tour player ball speed, like if Dustin Johnson hit 3-wood, his ball speed would be around, I'm going to say 165. Okay, so he's a significantly faster swinger than old Martin Chuck here. But that's a pretty nice number, and that's kind of what I expect. So I've almost got this thing where I want it. I'd say that spin number is maybe just a sliver high, but not too bad. So again, getting dialed in is something that I'd love for you guys to be able to do by getting a proper fitting. Now, I was just talking about shafts a second ago. So shafts, as you know, come in a variety of flexes and a variety of weights. This one here from Hanma is called the Vizard 60 gram. They've got a few different shafts. This is proprietary shaft they make in Japan. And every shaft has a certain kick in it, meaning that at impact, a shaft, I don't know if you can see this too well on camera, but this is basically what a club looks like at impact. It's bowing forward. You'd think that, a lot of people used to think that they de-loft in impact, but the reality is shafts actually do this. They kick into the ball, they add loft. So when you get a long driver like Jim Waldron, he's got for example, a 3-degree driver. He hits up on it probably 3 or 4 degrees, so now 3 plus 3 or 4 is 7. And then you add a little bit of the shaft that's a tree pole, kicking forward, add in another few degrees for that kick, and now he gets a 11 or 12 degree launch at 145 miles an hour on a centered strike, and he gets ball speed of 220 miles an hour, and it flies 395 yards in the air with low spin. It's insane. So, but that's just the athlete that he is that can produce those kind of crazy speeds. Now, I'm not that kind of, I'll be 52 here this month, crazy, but the driver, we're looking for a blend of launch and spin. So getting the driver dialed in, it is the most important club in your bag, absolutely bar none. So let's smack a little driver here. Pretty good. Should carry in the 255, 260 range. Hit it reasonably solid. So carried 265, total 286, okay? That's a keeper. If I do that 14 times in a round of golf, guess what? I'm going to add, look at the end of the day, the score is going to be a pretty good one. So pretty good numbers. 104 club head speed, not amazing. How about this though? That ball speed was actually pretty low for me, 148, same as the 3-wood a moment ago. But the kicker was, launched a little higher, but it had less spin. It had 2,000 RPMs of spin. So basically perfect launch conditions for me. So that was not a high-speed swing for me. I probably got 4 or 5 miles an hour in the tank more than that, okay? But it was pretty much spot-on launch conditions. Baby draw, the tee went straight back, almost killed Fever back there. Gotta be careful in here, don't you? Right? A nice little baby draw, and that was a nice tee ball based on that speed. So efficiencies of strike, everybody. I'm not a beast who swings it really fast. I wish I was, okay? You know what they used to call me in track? Snowshoes Chuck, and that was in July, right? So Swing speed's great, but it's more efficiencies of strike. And when you get a decent build, you get some equipment you like. And I'm telling you, Hanma's my sponsor. I get it, but I would not be gushing over the gear if I didn't truly believe that you are making a big boo-boo if you don't take a serious look at Hanma. The TR20 stuff is fantastic. And the new TR21X iron, we gave a set of those away day one on Monday to, I forget the fellow's name now, I can't remember his handle on Instagram, but the guy was like jumping around the office when he found out that he won, so that was super cool. And we have some more iron sets coming out, another set of those, and we've got a set of TR20Ps, a set of TR20Vs, the ones I game. We're gonna give you some cool stuff, so let's do it. Win that stuff. Oh, can't forget, you know, they say you drive for show and you putt for dough. Well, I tell you what, you actually drive for dough. You drive it for dough, because if you don't drive it well, putting hardly matters, okay? You got to drive the ball nicely. You drive for dough and you putt for even more dough. How's that? So let's take that old, you know, saying from back in the day, and I'm going to tell you what I'm gaming, the even roll. So this is the original one. So this is the ER1 from back in the day. Garen Reif's a personal friend of mine. He's a great guy. He's the mad scientist of putting design. You know, you got your guys out there, your Scotty Cameron, everybody knows about. Garen Reif, I think it's Tom Bettinardi. There's some really cool dudes that are just freaks about putters. I mean, they're everything, he is so passionate about putters. And what I'm really loving about even roll putters, and this is a thing that, let me see if I can get to where you can see this. So that groove design, you guys, right, you can see that? I know it's hard to see in the camera, but those grooves aren't just across the face, okay? They're actually, the material in the middle of the face right there is actually skinnier in the middle of the face than it is toward the boundaries of that grooved area. And why is that a big deal? Because, and I saw this test and I wouldn't have believed it if I wouldn't have stood there. And so there's Garen Reif. He's sitting on his little stool. He's got some robot arm thing going, swinging a putter back and forth, putting a ball in a spot. And what he does is he says, okay, here's 3 balls right out the middle of the face. And he swings the ball, and this arm comes back and gets stopped by a magnet. So it's held exactly in the same spot in every, and then this little electronic releaser lets it go and hit a ball. So it goes back into the magnet spot and then hits a ball. So 3 sweet ones out the middle of the face, they roll, let's say 20 feet, okay? 20 feet, perfect, roll down there. Then he goes, all right, I'm gonna go 1/4 inch out of the toe. Pulls it back, magnetizes it, swings it, lets it go. Guess what? They go 20 feet as well. Shouldn't do that, right? Because they're not centered hits. Heel, same thing. Pulls it back, the magnet holds the shaft, swings it, ball rolls 20 feet. And so I'm looking at this, scratching my head, and what he's designed and his patent is, he's taken some of the material out of the sweet spot, beefed up the material away from the sweet spot, so you get fractionally higher ball speeds on off-centered hits. Genius. Sweet ones go, whatever a sweet one would go, they come off with just a tick more ball speed out the toe and the heel, so you get the golf balls to go the same distance. And if you've hung around me at all, I always joke about putting. You know what the most important things about putting are? Pace, 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 and face. You've got to be able to estimate how far the ball is going to come off the face to be a great putter. Of course, you have to aim it, no doubt about it, but pace is critical, because if you have decent pace, you never 3-putt. If you have poor pace, you 3-putt all the time. 10 feet short, 10 feet long, not bueno. But if you have decent pace, you've always got easy cleanup putts, okay? So even roll, you got to give them a hard look. I've been with them for a few years now. Absolutely my favorite putters, hands down. And they've got the Tour Stroke. I've got one of those kicking around right here too. Let me show you the Tour Stroke. Don't go away. I'll be right back. The Tour Stroke is super cool because it's got this massive offset. Let me show you this massive offset. Kind of reminiscent of the genius Carsten Solheim back in the day. And if you need it, okay, it's got the most MOI in the industry, meaning that if I balance this on my finger and I try to twist this shaft, there's a massive resistance to twisting right here. So if you're somebody that really doesn't hit the sweet spot too often, okay, the grooves from even roll, fantastic. And the Tour Stroke putter has a massive resistance to twisting. And just they've got a great lineup, so check them out. So anyway, that's what's in the bag. My beautiful gear from Hama that I'm absolutely stoked about. And there's TR21 stuff, the X irons that I'm going to test here soon, and I'll probably show you guys that. Oh, we got some questions from the audience.
Back to fitting, why would a pro choose one line versus another line?
So question, do you know who asked the question?
DJP.
DJ. Okay, why would one pro choose one line versus another? A pro, well, probably because, well, let's just say it this way. Say, for example, the pro is just, he's got a bag sponsor. Maybe Buick is his primary sponsor. He doesn't really have a club sponsor. So guess what he's going to do, DJ? He's going to play whatever performs best for him, whatever suits his eye and gives him or her the feedback and the response off the face and the appropriate gapping. Okay, I mean, you need to have, you could see I could kind of the ball was going to fly. Most amateurs cannot do that because one, they're not going to hit center hit it. That's my job to help you do that more. But a pro is going to choose basically what they look down and go, yep, that looks beautiful. I can look at that every day. And then performance, looks and performance, got to look good, got to perform. So you got to find the blend of that. So a pro is going to be, if they don't have, like say for example, they're not sponsored by a major OEM, they're going to play whatever suits them. And if you think about, I'm trying to think about tour players that have a, I want to say Patrick Reed a couple years ago, maybe a couple years back, he had a variety of different clubs in his bag because he realized that, hey, this driver performed for him. This 3-wood from another company performed for him, right? Now, OEMs nowadays, they're so good, all the great ones. You got Ping, Hanma, TaylorMade, Callaway, and the list goes on. Well, Titleist, you know, that's pretty much within their brand, you can find great fitting gear. So the pros nowadays are pretty lucky. And then they have the tour vans to kind of tweak this stuff out. Some of the tour van guys are amazing at little nuances, obviously, to keep the tour players' gear performing and hitting those gaps the way they expect to. Other questions?
What's the difference between fitting for a pro versus fitting for a normal person?
The difference between fitting for a pro and fitting for a normal person. Nowadays, guess what? Probably location. Because if you are, say you live somewhere around a true Spec, and there's another one, gosh, what's it called? There's another good company out there. I can't even remember the name of it. But if you have, or in Toronto, TXG, my boy Ian Fraser, if you're in Toronto, that's your guy. Okay, go see TXG. But if you're down here, or in Toronto's got a true Spec too. But if you have a great fitter, guess what they have? They have everything. They've got every head from every OEM. They've got every variety of head from every OEM. They have more shafts than you can shake a stick at. If you walk into one of these true Specs and you look on the wall, the hardest thing is going to be making a decision. That's why a full bag fitting is about 3 hours. They allot 3 hours for you to kind of calmly work with your fitter, and this is what a pro would do. And and at the Raven, it's just this, they've got this super sweet, it's like a cargo container that they took one wall off, put in glass sliding doors. Behind the glass sliding doors, you have the equipment you need to check weight, shaft flex, bend things. And they've got these cool, metal art drawers that have all the heads in there. It's like, ooh, it's a kid in a candy store. So then, the fitter's pretty good at sizing you up. They're gonna judge your speed pretty quick. Like I used to be an extra stiff shaft guy my whole life. Well, guess what? I'm not anymore. I'm a stiff shaft guy. So I went from swinging at 110, 112. Now I swing at 105, 108. So my transition's not as fast. I don't need the same kind of equipment I did 15, 20 years ago. So I'm making progressive changes to suit my game. And most of my clients that come to the golf school are my age and older. I'd say the sweet spot's right in there, about 65. We had Fred at 90 years old a couple years ago. Fred is the coolest dude I've ever met. 90-year-old dude at my golf school for 3 days, hitting balls, having a blast, telling jokes. And guess what? He outdrove me on one hole. Yes, he did. He hit one about 245. I kind of necked one. And Fred was a good couple yards past me. And boy, if he didn't let me know it, and it was the coolest thing ever to see this dude who is 90, who could still swing a golf club about 90 miles an hour. Unbelievable. Amazing. So the difference between a pro fitting and an amateur fitting, location. Because if you are by one of these amazing fitters nowadays, and there's more and more of them. You know, I'm not going to knock the club pros, okay, because I was one for 16 years. We tried really, really hard. We usually had a few fitting carts. We had our brand over here, and then this brand, and then this brand, and we had our clubs all sticking out of it, and that's great. And they can do, I'd say, probably a B to B plus job. But if you want an A to A plus job, go see one of these amazing fitters that all they do is fit. And all they do is build your clubs. They don't come in a box like this. They put the heads on, they put the shafts in. Sometimes they even spine the shafts if you want that done, meaning they put the shaft in a machine that spins it at high speed and finds where the wobble is. Because all these shafts are built around something called a mandrel. The steel is folded around a long stick, and it's welded. The graphite's folded around the stick or whipped a certain way. It's got a strongest point. And so this machine finds where that strongest point is before they trim the shaft. And that's how they can know, well, these shafts are the most consistent, because this machine spins it and finds where that point is. And the fitter guy, it stops right on this point. The guy puts a wee little mark with a Sharpie or something to signify that point. Then they trim it from there to get the frequency correct as well. You know, I didn't talk about frequency, but frequency is basically, if I clamp this shaft down and this is fixed, and you bounce this, it would go boom, 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 boom. And they know how stiff the shaft is by that frequency, and that's how they trim shafts nowadays. There's suggested trimming dimensions, but then there's frequency checked trimming dimensions that a really high level fitter will do. And of course, getting grips on, and then making sure the head weights make sense. Because even though the heads come in, sometimes they'll make little adjustments. They will grind a little bit off, or they'll add a little bit of weight too. You'll see tour players with a little bit of lead tape on their clubs right from the OEM, because they want to get those things perfect. They don't care if there's a wee bit of lead tape on them, or they might put a little tungsten plug in as well. Okay, so get yourself fit by an expert. You're going to be awesome. Any questions?
Putter versus irons versus driver, what's the most important fitting?
Oh, you know, I think that, okay, sorry, I'm going to repeat the question. Thank you for reminding me. The most important fitting, driver, putter, or wedges? That was the question. What of the three? You know what? I'm telling you, you could play terrible golf, but if you stand up and you smash your driver and play way down there, and it feels pleasing, the driver. The driver is like, you crush the driver, I don't care who you are. You know, you might shoot, yeah, I shot 92, but did you see my drives all day? Yeah. So if you had to only choose one, I would say driver. You know, if you got to choose two, okay, say your wife gets you a driver fitting, and you say, and the kids get you a putter fitting, because a putter fitting is super cool as well, because if you've been in one of these great fitting shops, again, you see every putter head you can imagine, and then they pop the shaft in at the length that you need, 32 inches, 33, 34, 35. And here's the thing too about putters. Putters are usually, you know, when you go to a store and you see, you know, 100 putters there, they're usually built at 35 or 34 inches. Well, a tour average in putter shaft is a little under 34. It's like 33 and 3/4. So, you know, and there's a lot of really tall tour players that have, you know, that have 33.5-inch putters. And so the more you cut a putter down, the more weight you need in the head to balance off the, you know, the fact the thing is getting shorter. So a putter fitting is pretty critical, because a lot of these companies now, they can just twist out some weights, pop a new weight in. They can balance the weight of that putter for whatever dimension you need, whatever length you need. So, you know, golf is this crazy game we fall in love with, right? And, you know, can I go to the secondhand store and buy a knockoff set of old clubs from back in the day and go whip it around? Sure I can. Could I score with those? Probably. Would I score as well with, you know, those clubs in mine? Absolutely not. But could you go play golf and have fun? For sure. But, you know, you have a choice. You can buy a $12 wristwatch, or you can buy a really fancy wristwatch. Some people like the really fancy one. That's your choice. But if you really want to get some great equipment, a high-level fitting is fantastic. Any more questions?
So the question of what should I get fit for versus what should I go to a coach for?
Oh, I see. Okay, the question would be, you know, when you go get a fitting, what can the fitting actually help your ball flight? How can it improve you as a golfer? Okay, not just gapping. And then, you know, what would you need to go get fit? What would a coach need to help you technique-wise? So great question. Thank you for that one. That's huge. That's basically, you know, what this episode is all about. You know, say for example, you are like a massive slicer, right? There certainly is, if you're not a guy or a gal that wants to go work on technique a little bit to kind of organize your swing direction. So let's talk about swing direction, low point, and club face for a second here, okay? Swing direction, where my hula hoop is pointing. So there's my swing direction. So here I go, I'm swinging. It can be too much out to the right, it can be too much out to the left, it can be, you know, like Goldilocks, just right, okay? So swing direction can be excessively across the ball into a slice format, excessively inside out, that's pushy, hooky format, or something manageable, right? Now maybe you fall in one of those three categories. The fitting can help with that quite a bit. If you're a big time slicer and the ball goes to the right, a lot of times the fitter will put you into a club that just starts the ball a bit more to the left, so your miss to the right doesn't miss as far to the right. Big Band-Aid on a bullet hole? Yes. But can it go help you find your golf ball and play more often? Absolutely. A good fitter will look at your set and figure out what gaps you need. A really good fitter might say, you know what, Mr. Smith, I'm only going to sell you the irons of, say, maybe a 58 degree lob wedge, maybe a 54 degree sand wedge. We'll put you in some kind of a gap wedge and a pitching wedge, 9 iron and an 8 iron, and that's it. Because your speed, those are the effective irons for you, and those are more scoring irons. Maybe you only carry 8 iron 100 yards. No shame in that. Now they're going to say, great, this OEM's lineup of hybrids is great for you. At your speed, you hit these hybrids effectively higher than an iron shot. And by the way, your low point, the way your club comes into the ground, isn't fast enough, nor is it precise and steep enough to crisply hit the golf ball every time on the back. So we're going to give you more skiddy, more clubs that kind of skid along the turf like a hybrid can. And maybe you have a variety of hybrids in your bag, and I've seen a lot of very, very effective slow speed, not Swedish people, slow speed swingers where they have a variety of hybrid lofts in their bag to elevate the golf ball to be more playable. So maybe their iron set stops at 8, and then they have hybrids that say, so now they've got a putter, a 58, maybe some kind of sand wedge, a gap wedge, a pitching wedge, a 9 and an 8. So there's 7. Guess what? You get 7 more. I'm not saying you need 7 more clubs. You certainly need a driver, okay? So the driver is going to be your 8th club. Then you're going to need some kind of fairway metal that hits a low heater for you. That's going to be your 9th club, okay? So that's going to be your play club from the fairway that is intended to elevate a little bit but be a hard runner, okay? So when I get my older golfers, those are the 9 mandated clubs they have to have, those 9. Then now you've got 5 clubs to fill in, and I wouldn't even say get all 5. I'd say get 3. Okay, get 3 hybrids that, or maybe even 2. That one is kind of a higher hybrid that goes longer than the 8 iron, obviously, and then another one that goes longer than that one, and then you've got your fairway club. So slow swing speeders, having 14 clubs in the bag is kind of a waste of time. OEMs want you to buy them. Trust me, you're going to feel weird not having them, but you know it and I know it. There's clubs in your bag that you don't even touch, let's be honest, okay? You're always going to whack the driver off the tee. Most of you need a great fairway metal. The fairway metal won't be like mine. It won't be a 13 or 14 degree thing. It'll be more of a 16, 17 degree thing. When we fit Stacy Chuck, Mama Striker, guess what? Her fairway metal is a 4-wood. It's not a 3-wood. Okay, it's got 18 or 19 degrees of loft. For her swing speed, she swings driver about 86, 87 miles an hour. Not too shabby. She smokes it out there pretty good. And the 4-wood is what was the best performing loft for her. And when she got fit from True Spec a little over a year ago, they put her in a variety of different OEMs. She has some ping irons. She has a Titleist 4-wood. She has a tailor-made driver. Right now, if I got on with Hanma, you know I'd be putting her in some Hanma gear. But they just picked what performed best for her at the time, and she loves her equipment. Immediate better results than her previous set. Immediate. Smile ear to ear. So the coach can help you overcome some of the massive things, right? What the fitter can do is say, well, this person's really not going to go take lessons. A good fitter is always going to ask you that, are you going to go work in your game? And the answer, no, they're going to say, okay, fine, let's fit this issue. Big slicer, fine. We're going to create some kind of a closed face, lofted, aim you to the left, reduce some of the slice, okay? They're going to work through the bag, maybe add more offset through the irons into the hybrids. Trust me, hybrids can be very hook bias, and the fitters know which OEMs do have the draw bias equipment. And typically in an OEM set, I'm just saying OEM, a manufacturer, they have a few different styles of equipment within their brand that relate to the different golfer. Like there's always the tour line or the higher handicap line that they may need a little bit more help getting the ball to go up. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Now, if you've got something you can't overcome, and I did this all the time, by the way. When I was a club pro for 16 years, they'd sign up for a fitting. I'd see them and I'd say, you know what, I'm really not comfortable selling you clubs today. And they'd look at me like, what? I like selling clubs. I made money selling clubs. But I didn't want to sell them clubs that day. I'd say, you can buy your clubs as they are right now are okay. I would suggest maybe taking a couple of lessons, because maybe they had a really funky grip and I could have just got them into new clubs, and maybe they had a bit more fun. Yeah, shiny new car, that's great. Okay, but the old car gets you A to B as well, probably just as well. So sometimes the golfer, it's a blend of, do they need new gear or do they need lessons? So that's a good fit. Or even the guys at True Spec, okay, they're in the business of selling clubs. My guy, Tanner at the Raven, he makes money selling clubs. He has told people, you know what, today's not the day for fitting. You're not hitting the ball well enough to even really get enough numbers, enough data to make a really good decision. So a good fitter is going to be honest with you. Hey, listen, you know what, you're not really hitting it well today. Maybe come back another day when you're not maybe nervous, because people get nervous. They go to a fitting, it's this cool elaborate setup on a range. There's a tent there. There's a launch monitor. There's a guy with a desk. He's got all these clubs. You're like, oh my God, he's watching you hit. Not many people are comfortable with people watching them hit, right? I don't care if people watch me hit. I'm a show off. I want you to watch me hit. Most people don't want. They want to be left alone. So that's something to consider as well. So anyway, the fitter will help some, I'd say, medium flaws improve. The teacher ought to help with the big stuff. If your path and face is just way too random, you need some teaching. So question, what you got for me, Jared?
Chicken or egg? Do I get fit first, or do I come to get coached first? If I were to go get fit and then come to a golf school, am I going to have to be refit when I'm done?
Gotcha. So the chicken or the egg question, I get this one all the time. Martin, should I come see you first, or should I go get a fitting first? It's a good question. Okay. So what I would say to you is, if you are not on this massive human spectrum difference, like let's say, like I'm pretty much Joe average guy. My clubs are not far out of what I could buy off the shelf, to be fair. Okay. Say you're pretty tiny or you're really tall, you might go spend a little time with a fitter. Just pay for a fitting just to get an opinion. You don't have to go spend and get clubs built. You can go see a fitter. A fitter can look at you for a few minutes. Don't even have to, you have to pay for the time, which is fair, right? You got to pay for people's time, but go get an opinion before even making an investment into clubs. And that doesn't just go make an appointment with a fitter. Now they may, say, well, here, try these. You might fall in love and buy stuff. But the point is, you want to get some gear that makes sense. If you're kind of a stronger human and you've got a really whippy shafted golf club, that thing is not, it's going to flush so much it doesn't make any sense. The thing's trying to find its home in way too randomly while it's catching up to a golf ball. You're going to strike it super poorly. We used to play a game called street golf, okay? This hysterical game my kids and I played years ago. Really whippy shafted plastic shafts. These were lovely things, actually. There's a Korean-made company made these. They were silicone-headed golf clubs. And then they had this flexible shaft and these foam balls. And you could basically whack one of these into the side of your car and not hurt anything. So in our neighborhood, we had a cul-de-sac. We'd hit these foam balls all over the cul-de-sac. It was a super fun way for Jackson and Samantha to get started. Well, the shafts were pretty whippy. Well, for like 3 and 4-year-old Jackson and 5-year-old Sammy, perfect. That's how they could feel the club head a little bit, okay? And they could get these foam things to fly all over the neighborhood. It was awesome. Now, if I took one of these wee little things and I swung it, the shaft bent so much it couldn't get back to the golf ball. I would miss every single time. So the chicken or the egg answer is basically this. If you're a stronger dude, don't go play soft gear. In other words, don't play, senior shafted or lady shafted equipment just because your uncle gave it to you to get started. If you're a slower swinger, like some of the ladies and elderly men, do not go play stiff, strong gear because it's going to feel terrible. And so if you can get gear that sort of matches you up as a newbie, don't go make a massive investment in gear until you realize you love the game, okay? Once you love the game, go get a little technique help from somebody in my profession that can help you kind of organize your hands, teach you how to have a routine, give you some basics on how to move in space and have a little bit more reliably getting the golf ball to come out the middle of the face. Once you do that, now go get the fancy stuff, okay? And that's when you're really going to love a fitting because you're going to see the difference. It'll blow your mind. And once you have belief in the gapping of how far your clubs go, your scores will go way down. That's when you can become a real player, not just somebody who plays golf. Question?
That's about it.
Cool. Okay. So how are we doing on time, guys?
8 o'clock.
We're at 8 o'clock. I cannot believe this is crazy. I've been talking for about an hour right now. So I'm going to follow up with this, you guys. The last question was an awesome one. I'm going to tell you one little story. I did a golf school in the UK a number of years ago. This fella was all excited. He got some new gear. I had my launch monitor with me. He wanted to see how far his irons went. So I said, no problem here. I set him up and I turned off all the data. All I just said was, you can just change the clubs. And I showed him how to do it. He had to do it on a tablet. Okay, you're done with your pitching wedge. Okay, change from pitching wedge to 9-iron. All he was doing was sending them down range. He really didn't know how far they were going. Because I turned all the data off. Because when somebody's doing a club test, I didn't want them to know anything other than hit 5 or 6 shots. We will delete the bad one, and then we'll get an average from the reasonable ones, and then we can really look at what you're carrying, what your roll up. So this guy had went and bought a set of golf clubs, and he was, we had a discussion. Oh, how far do you hit it? Or what do you play? Blah 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 blah. Well, he said he hit 7-iron 150, like most men think. So he goes through the test, and sure enough, he hit 7-iron 125. He's like, no, that can't be right. That was his average. I'm like, well, yeah, it is. Here's the machine right here. Goes, that can't be right. I hit 7-iron 150. I said, it might roll to 150, but you don't carry it 150. I said, I hit 7-iron 170. I said, wash. And I hit a 7-iron. And it landed 170, give or take. And he's like shaking his head. I said, buddy, it's not about how far they go. It's about how they get there. Now, the driver, yeah, you want to smash this thing. But we want predictable carry yardage. We want landing angle so the ball stays about where it ought to stay. So let's not be all about distance. Let's be more, certainly with your irons, how high do they go? Where do they stop? Is it predictable? Okay, that's critical. Now, I'm going to say thank you for tuning in this week. Big deal. So Instagram, Martin Chuck PGA, you guys, it's really easy to win great stuff. We have tons of amazing prizes. Hanma has said, Martin, let's do a promotion. Let's give away 21 days of Hanma. Why 21? Because TR21, Tour Release 21, is their new lineup. They asked me to give stuff away. Who am I to argue? I want to give you stuff. Follow me on Instagram. It's easy. I'm going to go do a post right now on the next prize that we'll give away tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We're going to continue to do that for a while. So follow me. It's going to be fun. Golf schools, people. Golf schools. End of October, we're getting back started at the Raven Phoenix. It's pretty much sold out, that first one. There's space in the ones that follow. So every week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, at the Raven, myself and my caring coaches, we're going to help you develop your golf game and give you a plan. That's awesome. Have some fun with us. Come see us at the Raven Phoenix. You can learn more. Go to tourstriker.com. Oh, I have a new website. My tourstrikergolfacademy.com will be launching soon again. We're trying to take the products, keep the products separate, keep the golf school and me on the other side of things. Not to confuse, the benefits of getting a little bit bigger, that's cool. We got to separate that out just a little bit. Special thanks to my sponsors, Nike for the close. Thank you, Nike. Appreciate you guys a ton. Foresight, of course, Hanma, and Even Roll. So Martin Chuck signing off. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.